The LEAP Foundation proudly presents the Meet the Mentor podcast with Dr. Bill Dorfman. Dr. Bill is a TV host, New York Times best-selling author, two-time Guinness World Book record holder, fitness guru, celebrity cosmetic dentist, and philanthropist who founded the LEAP Foundation. Here's Dr. Bill.
Hey, Dr. Bill here. I'm super duper duper excited because LEAP will be live and bigger than we had anticipated. UCLA actually found a ballroom that we're going to be able to put at least 100 vaccinated students. Yes, you must be vaccinated. Not my rule, UCLA's rule. But if you are vaccinated and you would like to attend LEAP live, you can. So go to www.leapfoundation.com. You can sign up today. If you want to attend virtually, you can do that as well. We expect to have about 100 students live and about, let's say 10,000 virtually. It should be epic. I think, keep your fingers crossed that we're going to get John Legend this year. I think, keep your fingers crossed that we're going to get Michael Strahan. I know for sure that we have Paula Abdul. I know for sure that we have Anthony Hopkins and his lovely wife, Stella Hopkins. So it should be a great, great year for LEAP. Part of the program is the mentor workshop. Students love the mentor workshop. And what we do is we bring in all these professionals from all walks of life. We have doctors and lawyers and firefighters and entertainers and you name it. And the students have an opportunity to sit and talk to them and find out what the secrets of their success were. Well, that was just too good to contain on a Friday at LEAP. So we started this podcast, Meet the Mentor. And it's exploded. I think we're in the top 2% of all podcasts worldwide. It's crazy. I mean, we were number 1 in Yemen, number 2 in Iceland, number 3 in Finland. I don't know how that happened. Well, I do know because we've had great people on the podcast and speakers at LEAP, like Anthony Hopkins, Mark Wahlberg, Paula Abdul, Michael Strahan, Jason Alexander, all of Pentatonics. And today we're going to add another one, John Griffiths. You guys don't know him yet, but you will. I've known him for almost 30 years. So let me give you a little bit of a bio on John, and then we'll kind of figure out what the secret of his success was. John Griffiths, Us Weekly's television critic from 2003 to 2017, today works as an advocate for inclusion and diversity in media and beyond. John's a writer, you guys, okay? And he's had a great career doing it. He is the executive director and founder of GALECA, a society of LGBTQ entertainment critics, and its Dorian Awards, now celebrating their 13th year. Griffith's other career credits include 7 years as a special correspondent for People magazine, where he interviewed stars as varied as Angelina Jolie, Queen Latifah, Melissa Etheridge, and many, many more. As a freelance celebrity journalist, he's profiled Sandra Bullock, Ellen DeGeneres, Keanu Reeves, Jennifer Garner, Courtney Cox, and millions of others for cover stories for TV Guide, InStyle, Cosmo, Glamour, and more. He's also helped advance Hollywood's treatment of mental health and participates on the National Action Alliance for Suicide Prevention's Public Awareness Task Force. In addition, he hosts a live digital radio show on the intersection of entertainment and recovery. And as I said earlier, we have been friends for over 30 years. Let me welcome John Griffiths to Meet the Mentor. Hey, John, how are you?
I'm good, Bill. Thanks for having me. I'm not quite as big as Anthony Hopkins, but I'm up there.
Actually, you're a little bigger than him. He's only 5'8".
Well, that's some inside dish that I love. I'm not even a gossip reporter, but I love to know that.
Yeah. So here's the thing. You have had a career as a writer for how many years now?
Yeah, a journalist, an entertainment journalist and editor for God, since I've been doing this since just after college, since 1989.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't even born.
I know. You know, I saw you grow up, and it was so cute to see you as a little boy. And now look at you. You've got this podcast that, you know, from going from the world's most famous dentist to a podcast host where you're interviewing Kathy Bates and Anthony, your buddy, who's 5'2".
And who only wants to be called Tony Hopkins, by the way.
I love
and
it.
Another little trivial fact that we should share with our viewers, John was born on the exact same day as my ex-wife, Evelyn, which we figured out once.
You know, I love the Libras, and I think that we have the same birthday as Angela Lansbury and Jean-Claude Van Damme. I might be a day or two off. So
wow.
We're all crazy.
All crazy.
Not that Angie's crazy, but Jean-Claude is.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. If I were a young student today and I wanted to be a journalist, what would you say is really critical for me to do at this point in my life? If I was in college, what are some things I could do that would really give me kind of a head start into a career in journalism?
Well, if you're a college student like I was, I mean, you're gonna, you know, I probably heard all the tips and advice back then, and it was my brain couldn't probably absorb it all because it was overwhelming. Figuring out your life is not easy. And I've always been sort of, looking back as more of a person that didn't have a guidebook. I knew people in college that literally had a binder of how they were going to make their first million by age 30. And I just admired that sort of chutzpah and focus, but I didn't have it. I just kind of bounced around, but I did know enough to get some experience beyond taking classes. I wanted to be a network programmer, like Fred Silverman, like decide what shows are aired on TV. Even though I had already been in junior high school and high school, I worked for the school paper and was anchor of the local school morning news TV show. But I didn't think about getting into media or entertainment as a journalist in that regard. But even so, that's what I kind of knew. It was sort of ingrained in me. And I wrote in college, I wrote for the school paper at USC. I wrote movie reviews. And I took internships. I worked at Mary Tyler Moore Productions and Lorimar at the time. They produced the hottest shows on TV like Knots Landing and Dallas. And I also worked for Michael Jackson and Bob Dylan's publicist at the time, Norman Winter. And when I say worked, I mean interned for free and sorted fan mail and rarely was given tasks that would kind of help me figure out what I wanted to do. So I think my first order of business for people in college that are trying to figure things out, don't just get an internship. If you get an internship, make sure that it's for a place that takes internships seriously, that they give you things that, that will help you get a job, a paying job, where they give you access and like maybe a weekly meeting with a company head or something to ask them questions and get career advice. And also, working for free for a local magazine or TV station, even more than an internship, or getting like an entry-level job over like a temp job. Go to a temp agency, even in college over the summer, and say that you want to, answer phones or do something, at a place where you might not even be sure that's where you want to. That area you want to work. Just give it a shot. Maybe you'll find out you like it. Maybe you'll notch it off and say, oh my God, I thought I wanted to do that, but I don't want to do it.
So John, I mean, obviously, writing for a school newspaper is kind of a no-brainer. I mean, if you're going to be a journalist, that's definitely a great place to start.
Sure.
And getting an internship is also, I think, really, really critical. But how do you get them? I mean, you know, you can't just call up Michael Jackson and say, hey, I want to be an intern for you. What's the best way for a student to actually find an internship in the entertainment world?
Well, of course, colleges, you know, especially well-connected ones, will have job boards and internship boards, and teachers will, you know, have friends that work at, you know, cool companies maybe that they can ask and say, do you have any internships? I have a student that's wanting to, you know, get to know your company in that field. And I do believe in cold calling and emailing. You know, just make sure that, yeah, just call and say, hey, I'm looking for an internship. There will be a secretary there that'll say, well, we don't have that now, or, you know, but job boards like, you know, websites like Indeed and some more of the, there are a couple of entertainment industry job, you know, posting companies, or yeah, call human resources.
All right.
Go on LinkedIn and find some people that have certain jobs and contact them, but call them and email them rather than try to befriend them on LinkedIn.
So John, you've had this incredibly long career as a writer, and that's not normal. I mean, most writers, journalists don't have such long careers. What do you think contributed to your longevity in this really competitive industry?
Well, you know, I don't want to toot my own horn, but
oh no, do.
I think I'm a good writer, you know, and I think if you show a level of respect for the, you know, the written word and the, you know, sentences, and can know how to use a comma, and yeah, can write well and tell a good story, and as a celebrity interviewer especially, engage with people and know what I read a lot, or I read a lot at the time, and I would see what top journalists, celebrity interviewers of the day, what made a good story. I took note, and it was sort of, and also just I think that we're born with some direction in us, and so yeah, and people, you know, like that keep
and I think that that's great. I mean, one of the things that LEAP that we teach is copy genius, you know, and I think it's smart for you to look out there and see what other successful people are doing, and then strive to do that better. But I think you missed something important. And one of the important things is you were able to morph your career. You know, when you started off, journalism was not like journalism today. And had you continued down that path, trying to pursue the exact same kind of a career that you did for the first 5-10 years of your career, you'd be a dinosaur. You know, and I think the fact that you were able to change with the times and kind of morph your writing style and start doing it for different kinds of medium, I think was critical to your success and longevity, don't you?
Yes, and I'm still doing it now. You know, there is so much changing. Right now, I'm at you know, honestly, at a career crossroads, because so much has changed. And just recently, it's a tough business. The media landscape has always been up and down, but especially lately, just the mergers and the layoffs in media are kind of daunting, and that was happening just you know, even before the pandemic. So people are really having to learn new parts of journalism, include learning how to create headlines that are clickbait, like, you know, SEO language, and also social media skills, and learning how to do a podcast, because a lot of companies want you to not just write, but do, you know, but tweet and Instagram, and then, you know, do a podcast.
Yeah, no, I think that's super important. You know, what would you say was probably the highest highlight of your career personally? It could be a particular interview you did, or an award you got, or whatever.
Well, I won first place in journalism editorial writing in eighth grade. In
That was
all of Los
big.
Angeles. Yeah, it was about cartoon violence, and I still have the plaque. Let's see, the nicest people I've ever interviewed that were really engaging and gave me sort of a sense of, oh, there's still humanity in Hollywood. Nicole Kidman, and maybe that was because my ego was satisfied because she asked about me and she laughed at my jokes. But I really found her to be a really warm, caring, thoughtful person. Emily Proctor from CSI Miami, we bonded over how awful Hollywood can be. And that was soothing. I've seen a lot.
Don't forget Sean Astin.
Oh, I love Sean Astin. What a good guy. Yeah.
We kind of bonded over that, remember?
I do. That was, 20 years ago. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
All right. So conversely, what would you say was the lowest low in your long career?
Well, I could get in trouble and talk about a couple of the nuttiest interview subjects that, I will say a publicist who disregarded on behalf of her star client my need to not do an interview on a certain day because my brother was having a brain tumor removed, and I had to be there be there with family for that very important day. And I was stuck, and the publicist said that's the only time the star could do it. And I had to do it because the editor of the magazine was in a real bind out of his own family tragedy. So I was stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I went to do that interview. And then when I got there, the star said that they couldn't do it because they had plans with a friend.
Oh my gosh.
It's a little bit of a downer, but it's that kind of stuff takes a toll. You have to have a hard skin, even covering Hollywood, let alone being in it.
Yeah, I totally get that. When we finish this interview, you have to tell me who that one was.
I sure will.
But yeah, no, I can totally imagine. So right now, what do you think is kind of the biggest challenge in the world of journalism?
Well, it's the stuff that I mentioned before is people are getting paid less for interviewing celebrities or writing on entertainment than they were paid in the 90s. Rates have gone not just down for freelancers, but also for staffers, which is why the big talk in media right now is how even big editors at magazine like Allure are quitting their jobs to go work at places like Netflix or Hulu, who have started their own publications or websites that are editorial. So you make a lot more money, but you're a little bit more beholden, obviously, because you then are only able to write about, a Netflix show or a Netflix star.
Right.
But
what's your favorite part of what you do?
Well, engaging with people. I have found that in starting the Society of LGBTQ Entertainment Critics, I have found that I love being an activist for, of all things, entertainment journalists, for all the reasons I mentioned. It's entertainment journalists are really unsung in Hollywood. Everybody makes a lot of money, but journalists, and I hate to sound bitter, but especially if you're underrepresented, if you're gay or a lesbian or transgender, it's and on top of that, if you're Black or Latinx or there are access issues, there are respect issues. They're sort of taken for granted. And why I think it's so important beyond like, oh, who cares? These people, if they're shut out of covering TV shows and film, they're not giving their perspective on a medium that greatly shapes society, So
I think it's incredibly admirable what you do for representation. And, I'm really proud of you. And, we've been friends for a long time, and you are a great man, and you've had an amazing career. And I'm super excited to see, what's in the future for you. What are your plans right now for your future of your career?
Well, I want to keep growing our organization. We have 315 members across the country that write for Entertainment Weekly, New York Times, The New Yorker, and also smaller, cooler or cool websites. And our Dorian Awards that go to all of film and TV, not just quote gay stuff. And I'm looking at writing a column and doing a podcast with it on entertainment and recovery and mental health, the intersection of all of that again, because I enjoy that. And, it's that just sounds fun to me. And I'm writing a book right now on TV in the late 60s.
That's so awesome. Well, John, thank you so much for spending time with us. If you haven't signed up for LEAP yet, do it. It will be July 18th to the 23rd. Hopefully, John, you could be a mentor on the Friday, the 23rd, and actually sit with students, or do it virtually this year.
I did it before and I enjoyed it. I always had a work conflict, but it was a lovely experience.
All right. Dr. Bill, over and out.
To learn more about the LEAP Foundation, go to leapfoundation.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Leap Foundation or on Instagram at Leap Foundation. Listen to the Meet the Mentor podcast with Dr. Bill Dorfman on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.